Excuse me, this isn't the welfare line. First class is for people who can actually afford it. The words cut through the cabin like broken glass. Every head in first class turned. Utensils stopped clinking, screens dimmed, conversations froze. The flight attendant, Karen Miller, stood tall, arms folded, her chin tilted upward in authority. Her smile wasn't professional, it was mocking. In seat 2A, Dr. Amara Johnson looked up calmly from her tablet, dark eyes meeting Karen's without a flicker of fear. Her blazer was neat, understated. Her posture composed. Amara's voice was soft, steady. I have a first-class ticket. She reached into her pocket and extended the boarding pass. Karen snatched it like confiscated contraband, holding it up under the cabin light, turning it left and right like it might reveal a hidden trick. Then, with deliberate force, she slapped it back against Amara's chest. The sound cracked through the air like a slap itself. Gasps rippled. A woman in 1D muttered, "Disgraceful. They always try this." The businessman in 1C smirked, phone already raised. "Oh, this one's going viral," he whispered gleefully to his seatmate. Karen leaned closer, her voice dripping with false sweetness. "Don't try to hustle your way into first class, honey. Coach is back there. Maybe you'll find your seat there." The humiliation was public, intentional. But Amara didn't move, didn't flinch. Her silence unnerved even those watching. She adjusted her blazer slightly, and her watch caught the light, sleek, subtle, but worth more than most passengers' annual salary. Karen sneered. "Cute knockoff." A chuckle came from 1C. "Probably stolen," he muttered, just loud enough to be overheard. Some passengers laughed. Others looked away, too uncomfortable to intervene. Karen flipped her phone to selfie mode, smile widening. She was already live. Karen to her stream. "Hey everyone, it's your girl Karen. Look what I'm dealing with. Someone trying to sneak into first class like we wouldn't notice." The viewer count ticked upward. 24, 67, 143, climbing fast. Comments rolled in. "Drag her out. Always trying to scam the system. She doesn't belong there." Amara remained silent. Her phone buzzed. She tapped out a message and set it face down on the tray. Karen snorted, narrating for her live stream. "Oh, she's texting now. Probably trying to fake some receipts. This is priceless." Her chat lit up with laughing emojis. The young Latina woman in 3B shifted uncomfortably. She'd been here before. The stares, the whispers, the mistaken seat accusations. She opened her mouth to speak, then shut it quickly. Fear outweighed courage. Karen tapped her headset dramatically. "Security to gate 17A. Passenger refusing to move from first class. Possible fraud." Gasps, murmurs. The words fraud and refusing buzzed through the crowd like bees. Amara's voice broke the tension for the first time, calm as ever. "Tell the board I'll be 20 minutes late." Her tone was so casual, so unbothered, that it unsettled a few passengers. Karen rolled her eyes so hard it was almost theatrical. "Oh, now she's got board meetings. What's next? CEO of Burger King?" The live stream comments erupted. "She's delusional. Board meeting at Walmart. This is first class, not a food pantry." The businessman in 1C whispered gleefully, "First class fraud. I'm tagging it right now." Within minutes, his video gained traction. Shared, reshared, viewed. The hashtag started to pick up speed. If you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, hit that like button and subscribe. Together we can make sure these voices reach even more people. Now, let's get back to it. Heavy footsteps thundered up the jet bridge. 2 uniformed security officers appeared, filling the narrow aisle with authority. Officer Daniels, briskly. "What's the situation?" Karen pointed dramatically at Amara. "She's in the wrong seat, refuses to move to coach where she belongs." Neither officer glanced at the boarding pass still in Amara's lap. They didn't ask questions. They didn't verify. Officer Daniels' tone was sharp, rehearsed. Ma'am, you'll need to gather your belongings and deplane. Phones tilted upward. Cameras rolled. Every angle was being captured. Amara didn't move. Her hands remained still on the tray table. Her eyes stayed fixed, unflinching. The businessman in 1C whispered to his phone, "This is entitlement in action, folks. Trying to steal first class like the rules don't apply." Unreal. His live stream showed the tense standoff. Shares jumped from 50 to 200 to 400. Karen's own live stream was climbing. 256 viewers, comments pouring in. Drag her out already. Security needs to be tougher. Why are they wasting time? The elderly woman in 1D leaned forward, her voice honeyed with false concern. "Sweetheart, don't make this worse for yourself. We've all seen this trick before. Just go back where you belong." The Latina woman in 3B clenched her fists. She whispered, barely audible, "She has a ticket." Karen snapped her head toward her. "What was that?" 3B went silent, staring at her lap. Officer Daniels, firmer now. "Ma'am, last warning. Gather your belongings." Amara's phone buzzed again. She typed a message with calm precision, then set it back down. The businessman smirked into his camera. "She's stalling, probably trying to fake a reservation number. Watch, they always pull the victim card at the end." Karen's live stream comments grew nastier. "She should be banned from flying. Hope they drag her out by her hair. First class is for us, not them." The atmosphere in the cabin thickened with hostility. Some passengers whispered their agreement. Others looked away in shame. A few shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. The black man in 4C finally stood halfway. "Excuse me, she showed her ticket. I saw it. It was first class." Officer Daniels' voice snapped. "Sit down, sir, or you'll be removed too." The warning was sharp, authoritative. 4C hesitated, then slowly lowered back into his seat, shaking his head in disgust. Karen smirked. "Thank you, officer. Some people just don't know their place." The businessman chuckled again. "This is better than TV." The hashtag #FirstClassFraud hit 600 shares. Local feeds at Atlanta Airport began trending. Phones filled the air. Every angle of Amara's calm defiance and Karen's loud accusations was being streamed, narrated, dissected in real time. Amara sat silently. Not one muscle of her face shifted. Security stepped closer. "Officer Daniels, final warning. Ma'am, comply now or you'll be escorted out by force." Gasps swept the cabin, a nervous laugh from someone in row 3. The tension was unbearable. Amara reached slowly into her blazer. The businessman's camera zoomed in like it was the climax of a movie. Karen grinned for her live stream. Phones tilted higher. The cabin buzzed with whispers. Amara's hand emerged, not with a weapon, not with a ticket, but with a slim black leather card holder. She placed it carefully on the tray, one finger resting on top. Her expression never changed. Calm, controlled, calculated. Karen's live stream chat exploded. "What is she doing? Another fake ID coming up. This is pathetic." Officer Daniels leaned forward. "Ma'am, that's enough. Stand up, now." The elderly woman in 1D clapped softly. Finally, about time. The Latina woman in 3B looked around, horrified but silent. The businessman's live stream hit 1,000 viewers. The crowd's breath was held. And Amara spoke only one sentence, steady as stone. "Before you make any decision you can't undo, you should call your captain." The air was thick with tension. Phones hovered like vultures, capturing every twitch of every face. Officer Daniels stepped closer, voice sharp. "Ma'am, I won't repeat myself again. Stand up." Amara didn't flinch. She tapped the card holder gently with one finger and repeated, calm as stone, "Call your captain." Karen rolled her eyes so hard her livestream audience laughed. "Girl, please. The captain doesn't have time for your little performance. You're done." Her chat box was ruthless. "She's stalling. Captain's not coming for her. Just drag her out already." The businessman in 1C was narrating into his phone like a news anchor. Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnessing textbook fraud. She's got some fake cardholder now, claiming she wants the captain. Classic move. The elderly woman in 1D muttered to her husband, "They always pull this drama." Officer Daniels lifted his radio. "Ground, prepare for passenger removal." The cabin bristled. A ripple of whispers, shifting bodies, recording phones. That's when a crisp voice cut through the chaos. "What's the delay here?" Every head turned. At the aircraft door stood Senior Flight Manager Richard Cole, clipboard in hand, uniform immaculate, eyes sharp from years of authority. Karen straightened instantly, her smugness replaced with professional obedience. She quickly ended her live stream, though she didn't actually shut it down. The feed continued, just hidden in her palm. Karen, all polished now. "Passenger in the wrong seat, sir. Refusing to move to coach." Cole's eyes swept the scene, pausing on Amara. He studied her composed posture, the designer bag on her lap, the card holder resting on the tray. He extended his hand. "Ma'am, may I see your boarding pass and identification?" For the first time, Amara allowed a small smile. She handed them over silently. Cole examined them carefully. The boarding pass was crisp, printed 3 days ago, showing seat 2 of first class. The ID read, Dr. Amara Johnson, Atlanta, Georgia. Cole frowned. They looked legitimate. But he'd seen fakes before. He needed something concrete. Cole measured. "These documents appear valid, but we've had sophisticated forgeries before. I'll need to verify this through our central system." The businessman in 1C nearly jumped out of his seat. "Finally, someone's taking this seriously. She's been wasting our time." His live stream comments agreed. "Throw her out. Fake tickets are easy these days. Why are they even hesitating?" Amara remained silent. Her phone buzzed again, but she ignored it. Cole pulled out his company tablet, scrolling rapidly through the airline's database. Her name appeared. Dr. Amara Johnson, gold status, booked ticket purchased directly from the airline website. But her flight history was unusual. Few flights, long gaps, but expensive tickets. It didn't fit the usual profile. Cole's lips tightened. He looked back at her. "Ma'am, our system indicates some irregularities. Did you book directly or through a third-party vendor?" Amara's tone was calm, unbothered. "Directly through your website. Would you like the confirmation number?" Cole hesitated. He wasn't convinced. He needed to show authority, especially in front of an entire cabin recording him. From the cockpit, a voice crackled over the intercom. "Flight crew, update on passenger issue. Tower is demanding resolution. We're risking our departure slot." The pressure doubled. Karen smirked in satisfaction. "Hear that? You're holding up the entire plane. You think the world revolves around you?" Her live stream chat, still running low in her palm, exploded. "Selfish. Kick her off already. Entitled brat." The Latina woman in 3B finally spoke up, her voice shaky but audible. I saw her boarding pass. It said first class. She's not lying." Cole turned sharply. "Miss, please remain seated. We'll handle this." The black man in 4C added, firmer. "I saw it too. She showed it when she boarded. She belongs here." Cole's jaw clenched. Passengers were starting to take her side. That was dangerous. Officer Daniels snapped, "Sir, sit down before you're removed as well." The cabin grew louder, some passengers whispering support, others echoing Karen's outrage. A nervous white woman in 2C hugged her purse tighter, saying nothing. Phones tilted higher. The businessman's live stream hit 800 viewers. Karen's secret stream ticked past 400, both filled with comments tearing Amara apart. Cole made his decision. He had to act fast. Cole, stern. "Ma'am, given the circumstances and delay, I'm going to ask you to deplane for additional verification. We can rebook you on the next available flight." The elderly woman in 1D clapped softly. "Finally, common sense." The businessman in 1C grinned, narrating to his viewers. That's it, folks. She's out. Justice served. Phones recorded every angle. Passengers leaned forward, eager to see the removal. But Amara didn't move. Instead, she reached into her blazer with deliberate precision. Gasps, phones zoomed in. The businessman whispered, "Here it comes. Fake credit card or bogus receipt." Karen's eyes gleamed. "Go on, sweetheart. Let's see what you've got now." Amara pulled out a single business card from the leather holder and placed it face down on the tray. Her finger rested lightly on top. Her voice was calm, but it carried a weight that made even Cole pause. "Mr. Cole, before you make an irreversible decision, I suggest you call your captain. Directly." The cabin erupted with whispers. The businessman scoffed. "Oh, she's pulling the call the captain move. Desperate." Karen smirked. "Captain doesn't handle scammers. He flies the plane. We handle passengers." Cole wavered. He hated being challenged in front of a crowd. But something in her tone, it wasn't pleading, it was commanding. Before he could respond, a third voice entered. From the cockpit door emerged Captain Miguel Alvarez, his uniform crisp, expression tight with irritation. "Captain Alvarez, sharp. What is the holdup? Tower is threatening to reassign our slot." Karen immediately straightened, her voice polished. "Sir, passenger in the wrong seat, refusing to move to coach. Security is prepared to escort her." Alvarez's eyes moved to Amara. Their gaze locked. For the first time in the ordeal, Amara allowed herself a faint smile. "Captain, thank you for joining us. Perhaps you should take a closer look at this situation before a mistake is made that your airline will regret." The cabin fell into hushed silence. Phones captured every frame, every syllable. Karen's live-stream chat boiled over. "What's she talking about? Drama queen. Kick her off already." The businessman's stream hit 1,300 viewers. Aviation bloggers had already picked it up. The hashtag #first-class-fraud was trending in Atlanta. Captain Alvarez frowned, stepping closer. His eyes flicked from Amara's calm face to the business card under her finger. "Ma'am, who exactly are you?" Amara leaned back in her seat, voice steady. "You'll find out soon enough. But for now, Captain, I recommend you press pause on this flight, because what happens next won't just affect me, it will affect every single person wearing this airline's uniform." Phones buzzed. Streams lit up. The tension was unbearable. The real showdown had only just begun. The cabin was silent, except for the buzzing of phones streaming live to the world. Captain Alvarez stood just a few feet from Dr. Amara Johnson, his brow furrowed. His instincts screamed this wasn't a normal case of wrong seat. There was something deliberate about the woman's composure. Too calm, too unshaken. Karen, desperate to reassert control, jumped in quickly. "Captain, she's wasting your time. Fake ticket. Probably fake ID, too. We've seen it 100 times." Her voice carried authority, but her eyes flickered with uncertainty. She could feel the atmosphere shifting against her. Amara, still seated, spoke softly, but her words pierced like a blade. "I don't repeat myself often, Captain, but for your sake, I'll say it again. Take a closer look before you make a decision that will haunt this airline." Phones zoomed in. Comments exploded. "Who is she? Why so calm if she's guilty? This is getting serious." The businessman in 1C, unwilling to lose his audience, pushed louder. "She's bluffing. I guarantee it. Watch this. Security's about to drag her out. Finally, some entertainment in first class." His live stream had crossed 2,000 viewers. People were screen recording, sharing, debating in real time. Cole, the senior manager, leaned into the captain. "Now, sir, I've verified her documents through our system. They check out, but her flight history is suspicious. Hardly any travel, yet she's sitting here in first class with expensive accessories. Something's off." Amara raised an eyebrow. "Suspicious? Since when is flying first class a crime? Or does it only become suspicious when someone like me is sitting here?" A murmur rippled through the cabin. The black man in 4C clapped once, sharp and loud. Say that! We know exactly what this is. Officer Daniels snapped. Sir, one more outburst and you'll be removed as well. The elderly woman in 1D sniffed indignantly. She's playing the race card now. Typical. Gasps. A few passengers muttered agreement. Others groaned in discomfort. The Latina in 3B covered her mouth, horrified. Karen smirked. Don't bring race into this, sweetheart. This is about fraud. Her livestream comments rolled in instantly. Always the race excuse. If she had proof, she'd show it. Security, drag her already. The pressure mounted. Amara's phone buzzed again. This time the screen lit up with a name visible to nearby passengers. Legal emergency line. Cole saw it. His stomach tightened. Ordinary passengers didn't have direct legal emergency contacts, especially not ones labeled so bluntly. He tried to mask his unease. Ma'am, this is your final warning. You can cooperate peacefully, or you can be removed by force. Amara tilted her head, calm as ever. You've already chosen force, but you haven't stopped to consider the consequences of putting your hands on the wrong person. Whispers spread like wildfire. The businessman in 1C scoffed loudly. Oh, please, this is pure theater. Nothing but hot air. But his live-stream chat wasn't so sure anymore. She's too calm for this to be fake. Notice she hasn't raised her voice once. Something's about to blow up. The captain finally broke the tension. Enough. Mr. Cole, Officer Daniels, pause all action. I'll handle this personally. Karen froze. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. The captain never intervened. He was supposed to stay in the cockpit, leave discipline to management. Amara slid the business card across the tray, still face down. Captain, before you decide, turn it over. The gesture was simple, but the cabin leaned forward like it was a court verdict. The captain hesitated. His fingers twitched over the card, but didn't flip it. Instead, he looked at Amara. Who exactly are you? Amara smiled faintly, the first real smile since boarding. You're closer to finding out than you realize. Phones shook as passengers leaned in to record. The businessman cursed under his breath, but kept filming. His audience was doubling by the minute. Karen snapped her gum loudly, trying to reassert control. Captain, don't waste time. She's bluffing. We're losing our departure slot. Amara turned her gaze on her, cool and sharp. Funny, you weren't worried about departure slots when you started your live stream. The cabin gasped. Heads whipped toward Karen. Cole's eyes widened. Live stream? Karen, is this true? Karen stammered. I was just documenting for training purposes. The businessman snorted. Training? She was farming likes. I saw it. She was mocking this woman the whole time. Other passengers nodded. Some had glimpsed the stream before she minimized it. Cole's face flushed red. If true, this was a serious violation of company policy. Karen snapped, desperate now. She's lying. She's making things up to distract us. Typical trick. But her voice cracked. She was losing control. Amara, calm as ever, slid her phone forward, screen glowing. A social media monitoring dashboard flickered across it, showing Karen Miller's Skylink flight attendant livestream active. 542 viewers. The evidence was undeniable. Cole's jaw clenched. The captain's expression darkened. Passengers erupted in whispers. The Latina in 3B whispered, "Oh my God, she really was streaming us." The black man in 4C shook his head. Humiliating her for likes. That's all this was. Phones whipped around to film Karen now. The crowd's anger shifted. Karen's face turned pale. She's hacking. That's fake. But no one believed her anymore. The captain finally picked up the face-down card and turned it over. His eyes scanned it and froze. Silence. He stared at Amara, his lips parting slightly in disbelief. His voice came out softer than anyone had ever heard from him. Dr. Johnson? Gasps rippled through the cabin. The businessman dropped his phone for a second. Karen's jaw slackened. Cole blinked like he'd misread the card. The cabin was chaos. Wait, who is she? Dr. Johnson? What's going on? Amara leaned back in her seat, her composure unbroken. Now we're getting somewhere, the businessman in 1C whispered into his phone, shaken now. Guys, I think we've seriously misjudged this. But it was too late. The streams had already gone viral. The hashtag #FirstClassFraud was being overtaken by a new one, #Justice Ford or Johnson. And the real storm was only beginning. The captain's voice had dropped to a whisper. Dr. Johnson? The name hovered in the air like smoke. Karen blinked rapidly. What did you just call her? Cole leaned forward, frowning. Captain, you know this passenger? Alvarez didn't answer. His eyes stayed locked on the black business card in his hand. His jaw worked, muscles tightening as he read it again. The businessman in 1C shifted uncomfortably, speaking to his live stream in a lower tone now. Folks, this might not be what we thought. Hang on, something's up here. His chat exploded with confusion. Wait, who is she? Why is the captain acting scared? What's on that card? Karen's face flushed. Her live stream, still hidden but running, was filled with questions now too. Her viewers weren't laughing anymore. They wanted answers. She snapped toward Amara, desperate to regain the upper hand. Doesn't matter who you pretend to be. Captain, don't let her play games with you. We're already delayed. She's wasting everyone's time. But the cabin had shifted. Passengers leaned forward, recording every twitch, every breath. The silence wasn't support for Karen anymore. It was suspicion. The Latina woman in 3B spoke up louder this time. She's not lying. I saw her ticket. I saw everything. You people are harassing her. The black man in 4C stood halfway again, voice booming now. And you all treated her like trash before even checking. This whole plane saw it. A white woman in 2C squirmed, finally speaking. She did have a ticket. I didn't say anything before, but it looked real to me. Arguments broke out. She's scamming. No, she isn't. This is discrimination, plain and simple. Y'all just don't want to admit you were wrong. The cabin was chaos. Phones everywhere streamed live. The businessman's audience crossed 3,200 viewers. Karen's audience was turning against her, comments flooding with, "You're done, girl. Why were you mocking her?" Policy violation, big time. On Twitter, the hashtag #FirstClassFraud was already shifting. Screenshots from inside the plane spread like wildfire. A new tag emerged, #Skylink Scandal. And someone had clipped the moment Karen slapped the boarding pass against Amara's chest. It was spreading with captions like, "This isn't service. This is humiliation. Caught on camera. Racial profiling at 30,000 feet before takeoff." The pressure was no longer confined to the cabin. It was global. Captain Alvarez finally raised his voice, cutting through the noise. "Enough! Everyone, sit down! Phones away!" No one moved. The authority he carried earlier was gone. The crowd had tasted blood, and the airline was the prey. Cole, sweating now, whispered urgently to Alvarez. "Captain, we need guidance from upstairs. This is spiraling." Alvarez nodded sharply. He pulled his radio. "Ground control, patch me through to Regional Director Simmons. Code red, passenger escalation." The cabin went quiet again. The phrase regional director carried weight. Passengers leaned in, phones still up. After a pause, a tinny voice filled the cockpit intercom. "This is Simmons. Captain, report." Alvarez swallowed, his voice tight. "Sir, we have a situation. Passenger Dr. Amara Johnson claims first-class ticket. Boarding pass appears valid. Crew alleges fraud. Social media coverage is significant." There was a pause. Then Simmons' voice, sharp. "Did you say Dr. Amara Johnson?" The cabin collectively inhaled. Alvarez glanced at Amara, then back to the radio. "Yes, sir." 5 seconds of silence, then, "Captain, stall. Do not remove her. I repeat, do not remove her under any circumstances. I'm escalating to corporate now. Gasps. The businessman in 1C whispered into his phone, voice shaky. Okay, guys, I think we screwed this up. Big time. Karen paled. She grabbed at the radio. Sir, with respect, this woman was clearly trying to— Silence, Miller! Simmons snapped, his voice booming over the channel. Do not say another word to that passenger. The cabin erupted with whispers, phones buzzing with notifications. Clips were being uploaded in real time to news feeds. A local journalist had already tweeted, developing passenger discrimination incident on Skylink, Flight 472. Live streams show woman accused of fraud despite valid boarding pass. Crowd divided, story incoming. Karen trembled. Her live stream chat was now filled with venom. She's toast. Hope her company fires her. This is career ending. Cole rubbed his temples, muttering, This is bad. This is very, very bad. Amara finally spoke again, her voice calm, even soothing in contrast to the panic. Director Simmons sounds worried, as he should be, because this situation has already moved beyond passenger service. The world is watching. She lifted her phone. The screen glowed with live numbers. Currently, 5,732 viewers across multiple platforms, 1,004 shares, and growing. The passengers murmured, uneasy. Even those who doubted her felt the weight of those numbers. Amara's voice hardened just slightly. Every minute this drags on, the damage multiplies. The businessman in 1C, who had mocked her just minutes earlier, slowly lowered his phone, face pale. I think I should stop streaming, he muttered. But it was too late. His video was already clipped, shared, replayed thousands of times. The elderly woman in 1D huffed indignantly. She's manipulating all of you. Don't you see? This is a scam. The Latina in 3B turned on her, voice steady now. No, ma'am. What's happening here is wrong. We all saw it. You just don't want to admit it. The cabin applauded softly, hesitant at first, then louder. Karen's face burned crimson. You people don't understand. She's nobody, just some woman who bought a fake ticket. But no one believed her anymore. The tide had turned. Alvarez rubbed the bridge of his nose. Mr. Cole, this is officially out of our hands. Cole exhaled shakily. Captain, what do we tell the passengers? We're already 25 minutes delayed. Amara leaned forward, her gaze slicing through both of them. I'll tell them. And with that, she rose slowly from her seat for the first time, calm, elegant, commanding. The entire cabin leaned in, phones rose higher. The air crackled with anticipation. Amara adjusted her blazer, lifted her chin, and addressed the passengers. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been patient through this disgraceful display. I assure you, it will be resolved. Not just for me, but for every passenger who's ever been profiled, humiliated, or disrespected in these seats. The cabin went dead silent. Her voice carried weight, authority. Passengers who doubted her a minute ago now stared in awe. The businessman in 1C muttered, Who is she? The captain clenched his jaw. He already knew. And soon, everyone else would too. The reveal was coming. The airline had no idea how badly they were about to burn. The cabin was no longer an airplane. It was a stage. Every seat was an audience. Every phone a live broadcast. And Dr. Amara Johnson, calm, elegant, unshaken, stood in the center of it all. The captain lowered his voice into the radio again. Director Simmons, the passenger insists on addressing the cabin. The situation is escalating. Simmons's voice came back, tighter than before. Understood. Captain, stall her. Keep her calm. We're on an emergency call with corporate legal right now. Do not let this get physical. Cole muttered under his breath. This is spiraling completely out of control. Karen, still trembling, hissed. Sir, why are we entertaining this? She's manipulating everyone. She doesn't belong here. But no one was listening to her anymore. The businessman in 1C whispered into his phone, his confidence gone. Okay guys, so update. The airline's corporate office is involved now. They're treating her like somebody important. His live stream chat fired off in confusion. Important how? Why is corporate scared of her? Something's going down. Meanwhile, Karen's own stream was unraveling. The laughing emojis had vanished, replaced with venom. You humiliated her. You're finished. Policy violation on camera. She quickly ended the broadcast, but the clips were already out. The internet had receipts. The cabin itself was boiling with tension. Passengers argued openly. This is discrimination. No, she's just scamming. Then why is corporate involved? Because they know they're in trouble. The Latina in 3B shook her head, muttering, I can't believe this is happening in front of all of us. The black man in 4C stood fully now, ignoring the officer's warnings. Don't you see? This woman has power. You can feel it, and all of you tried to strip it away because you couldn't imagine she belonged here. Some passengers clapped. Others muttered angrily. The cabin had become a battlefield of whispers, applause, and insults. Captain Alvarez, trying to regain control, stepped closer to Amara. Dr. Johnson, please allow us to de-escalate. We'll resolve this, but you need to sit down so we can... Amara cut him off, calm but commanding. Captain, the time for de-escalation passed the moment your employees slapped my boarding pass against my chest like I was a criminal, the moment your staff live-streamed my humiliation for the world to see, and the moment your manager chose suspicion over evidence. Her voice carried across the cabin like thunder. Phones caught every word. Clips spread in real time. One journalist tweeted within seconds. Passenger on Skylink, Flight 472, identifies as Dr. Amara Johnson. Claims racial profiling and humiliation were live-streamed by crew. Airline corporate now involved. Developing story. Retweets skyrocketed. Cole's face drained of color. He leaned to the captain, whispering, If she really is who I think she is, we're finished. Alvarez shot him a glare. Don't speculate. Focus. But Cole wasn't speculating. He'd seen that name before, on confidential internal documents. Back on the radio, Simmons' voice returned, sharper and more urgent. Captain, listen carefully. We have legal and PR executives on this call. Do not let her leave the plane. Keep her on board until further notice. The captain frowned. With respect, sir, passengers are recording everything. We can't trap her here. Do as I say, Simmons snapped. We're scrambling to assess the exposure. Social media's exploding. If this goes to the press unchecked, it could trigger an emergency shareholder meeting. Cole nearly choked. Shareholders? Over one passenger? The word hung in the air like a bomb. Passengers heard it. Phones captured it. The crowd buzzed. Amara tilted her head, her faint smile returning. Ah, so now you're worried about shareholders. Her words were calm, but Cole heard the dagger beneath them. Karen, desperate, shouted, She's bluffing. She's nobody. You're all letting her play you. The black man in 4C turned on her, voice booming. Then why is corporate panicking? Why are they telling you to shut up? The cabin erupted with applause. Karen shrank into herself, trembling with rage and fear. Alvarez's radio buzzed again. Simmons' voice came faster, more frantic. Captain, update. Board members are aware. Repeat, board members are aware. We've been ordered to prepare an emergency executive statement. Keep her calm at all costs. Stall departure as long as needed. Passengers gasped audibly. The businessman in 1C muttered into his stream, Oh my God, this is way above our pay grade. This isn't just a passenger issue. This is corporate collapse level stuff. His viewers spammed the chat. Who is she? Board members? For a passenger? This is historic. Amara finally sat back down, adjusting her blazer with perfect composure. She crossed one leg over the other, her watch catching the light again. Now you're beginning to understand, she said softly. Her phone buzzed again. This time she answered, Yes, I'm still on board. Yes, I've been documenting everything. Send the press release draft to my counsel and loop in the chair. Passengers around her froze. They weren't sure what was more shocking, her calm tone or the words themselves. Press release, counsel, chair. The businessman's phone nearly slipped from his hand. Guys, I think she is the board, Karen whispered furiously to Cole. Tell them to stop her. Tell them she can't do this. But Cole shook his head, his face pale. No, we can't stop her. Don't you get it? We're not in control anymore. Simmons' voice cracked over the radio, this time laced with panic. Captain, we need to know immediately if she's made any public statements. If she's spoken to the media directly, we could be facing lawsuits, cancellations, possibly a stock hit by morning. We're preparing crisis management protocols. Alvarez rubbed his temples. She's already speaking to the entire cabin, and they're streaming it live. The silence on the other end was deafening. Amara finally turned to the passengers, her eyes sweeping across the sea of phones and anxious faces. Ladies and gentlemen, you deserve the truth. You've been made part of something much larger than a flight delay, something that exposes not only bias and humiliation, but the systemic arrogance of a company that thought it could act without consequence. The Latina in 3B whispered, "She's incredible." The cabin leaned forward, waiting, holding its breath. But Amara didn't reveal everything. Not yet. She smiled faintly as though savoring the silence. Soon, she said quietly, almost to herself. The businessman in 1C whispered into his phone, "Whatever's coming next, it's going to destroy this airline." And he was right, because the hammer hadn't dropped yet. It was still in Amara's hand, and when she swung it, nothing would ever be the same. The cabin had gone utterly silent. Every passenger was locked on Dr. Amara Johnson, phones raised, eyes wide. Corporate HQ was scrambling. The captain looked sick. The crew looked terrified. And Amara? She was calm, too calm. She stood again, slow and deliberate, as if she had all the time in the world. She smoothed her blazer sleeve, glanced at the trembling Karen, then let her gaze sweep across the cabin. "Some of you still wonder who I am," she said, her voice low, steady, resonant. "Why corporate headquarters is panicking. Why your director is shouting down the radio. Why the word shareholders slipped into this conversation." She paused. Phones zoomed in closer. The businessman in 1C whispered into his live stream, "She's about to say it. Oh my God, this is it." Karen snapped, desperate. "Don't listen to her. She's manipulating you. She's..." Amara turned sharply, silencing her with just a look. Karen's mouth snapped shut. "Let me make this simple," Amara continued, her voice cutting clean. "I don't just belong in this seat. I own this seat. I own this flight. And I own the company you all fly under." Gas tore through the cabin. The Latina in 3B clasped her mouth. She's saying she owns Skylink?" The black man in 4C grinned fiercely, vindicated. "I knew it. I knew it." The businessman in 1C dropped his phone into his lap, eyes wide. "She's the one. Oh my God. She's the one they warned us about." Karen sputtered, red-faced. "That's impossible. You're lying. You can't." Amara reached into her bag and pulled out a slim, black leather folder. With deliberate calm, she flipped it open, holding it high so cameras could catch every page. Inside, embossed documents bearing the Skylink Airlines seal, signatures, shares, contract authority. "Dr. Amara Johnson," she said, crisp and unshakable. "Chair of the Skylink Corporate Board, majority shareholder. Your boss's boss's boss." The cabin exploded. Passengers gasped, screamed, shouted. Phones shook in trembling hands as streams surged with comments. "Holy, she owns the airline? They humiliated their own CEO. Karen's career is over. This is history. I'm watching history happen." The businessman's live stream jumped from 3,200 to 11,000 viewers in minutes. Clips hit Twitter instantly. Breaking. Passenger Dr. Amara Johnson reveals herself as majority shareholder chair of Skylink Airlines. Crew accused of racial profiling. Developing scandal. Within seconds, hashtags trended. #Skylink scandal, Shishi owns the plane. Karen fired. Karen staggered backward, shaking her head violently. No, this isn't real. You're faking this, all of it. Captain, tell them. Tell them she's not. But Captain Alvarez's face said it all. Pale, lips pressed tight, eyes locked on the folder in Amara's hand. He knew. Corporate HQ confirmed it seconds later. Simmons' voice burst through the radio, panicked and desperate. Captain, under no circumstances allow any confrontation with Dr. Johnson. I repeat, Dr. Johnson is the chair. The board is watching. Do you understand? The cabin gasped again. Passengers roared. Karen collapsed into a seat, trembling, her earlier arrogance shattered. Cole whispered hoarsely to Alvarez. We're done. She has us all by the throat. Alvarez closed his eyes briefly, muttering a prayer under his breath. Amara lowered the folder, letting the shock ripple and settle. She scanned the faces in front of her, some ashamed, some awestruck, some still in denial. Do you understand now? She asked softly, but the words cut like steel. I didn't need to raise my voice. I didn't need to shove anyone or beg for recognition. The authority I carry doesn't come from your approval. It comes from the reality you all just witnessed. And that reality is, you tried to humiliate your own leader. On my airline. On my plane. The Latina in 3B's eyes filled with tears. I can't believe they treated you like that. The black man in 4C crossed his arms, glaring at Karen. No, I can believe it. That's the problem. The businessman in 1C whispered into his phone, still live, his voice trembling with awe. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we just watched the most expensive mistake in airline history. His chat exploded. Clip this forever. Karen's face is priceless. Stock's gonna tank tomorrow. Karen tried one last gasp of defiance. She bolted to her feet, pointing at Amara with a shaking finger. This is a setup. You planted this whole thing. You wanted to embarrass me, to... Amara's gaze turned cold. No, you embarrassed yourself. All I did was exist in a space you thought I didn't deserve. The humiliation you broadcasted wasn't my humiliation. It was yours. The cabin applauded, louder this time. Real applause echoing through first class. Karen's knees buckled, and she collapsed back into her seat, hiding her face in her hands. The captain finally spoke, his voice resigned. Dr. Johnson, what are your instructions? Every passenger went silent. Phones zoomed closer. This was it. Amara looked at him steadily, her expression unreadable. She let the silence stretch just long enough for the weight to crush everyone watching. My instructions, she said slowly, will come shortly. For now, you'll all sit. You'll all wait. And you'll watch what accountability looks like when it finally lands. The cabin erupted in whispers. Passengers stared at her as if she were royalty. Phones captured every angle. Twitter and TikTok were on fire. Corporate HQ, hundreds of miles away, was in chaos. Executives dialing lawyers. PR firms drafting emergency statements. Analysts predicting stock drops. But in this cabin, on this plane, only one voice mattered now. And it belonged to the woman they had tried to humiliate. Amara Johnson, the boss, the owner, the storm. The reveal was complete. The consequences hadn't even started. The silence was thick. The air itself seemed to wait for her command. Dr. Amara Johnson stood tall in the aisle, the weight of her authority filling every inch of the cabin. Her presence radiated so strongly that even the security officers stepped back, hands twitching nervously at their belts. She turned to the captain, her voice sharp, regal, unmistakable. Get me a live line to corporate headquarters. Now. The captain hesitated, just for a breath, then obeyed, thrusting his headset into her hands like a soldier presenting a weapon to his queen. Passengers leaned forward, phones recording every second. The world was watching. Amara spoke into the mic. This is Dr. Amara Johnson. Effective immediately, I am exercising my authority as Chair of Skylink Airlines. A crackle on the other end, then Simmons's voice, trembling, deferential, nothing like the arrogance from before. Yes, Dr. Johnson, the board is online. They're listening. Her eyes locked on Karen, who sat frozen, pale and trembling in her seat. Good, Amara said coldly. Then hear me clearly. Flight attendant Karen Miller is terminated. Effective now. Remove her from payroll, revoke her credentials, and escort her off this aircraft the moment we land. Her behavior has violated every standard of professionalism, decency, and human dignity this company claims to uphold. The cabin exploded. Passengers roared in applause. Phones shook with the energy of people recording history. Karen's head snapped up, face contorted in disbelief. You can't do this. This isn't fair. Amara didn't even look at her. Fair, she said icily, was an option you denied me when you slapped my ticket against my chest and broadcasted my humiliation for entertainment. Karen's mouth opened, but no words came out. She collapsed into sobs, shaking uncontrollably as passengers openly booed her. Amara wasn't finished. She turned sharply, her gaze slicing into the manager. Cole Simmons, Regional Director. Cole stood stiff, his face pale as paper. Yes, Dr. Johnson, he croaked. You doubted me. You chose to side with arrogance, with prejudice, with assumption, rather than evidence. You are unfit to lead. Effective immediately, you are relieved of your duties. Security will escort you from the premises upon our return. The passengers cheered again, louder this time. Some stood, clapping furiously. The black man in 4C pumped his fist into the air, shouting, Accountability! Cole staggered, his jaw trembling. Please, Dr. Johnson, at least let me... Amara cut him off like a blade. You are finished. Sit down. And he did, collapsing into a seat, his authority stripped bare in front of the entire cabin. Her gaze shifted to the captain. Alvarez stiffened, his knuckles white around the armrest. Captain Alvarez. Yes, ma'am, he whispered. You hesitated. You allowed humiliation to spread unchecked. You let your crew live stream a paying passenger, and you doubted me when your own eyes could confirm the truth. He swallowed hard. Dr. Johnson, you will submit to a full review of your command. Until that review is complete, you are suspended from duty. Hand over your credentials. The cabin erupted, thunderous applause, cheers, phones shaking with excitement. The captain's shoulders sagged, but he obeyed without a word. He removed his badge, his face gray, and placed it on the tray table in front of Amara. She didn't touch it. She didn't need to. Passengers rose to their feet now, clapping, cheering, chanting, Justice! 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 The Latina in 3B was crying openly, tears streaming down her face. You don't know what this means to see, she whispered. Someone with power, actually using it for once. The businessman in 1C, now trembling with awe, whispered into his phone, This is the end of Skylink as we know it. She just wiped out the leadership team? Live. Oh my God. This is unreal. His live stream surged past 25,000 viewers. Comments poured in. I've never seen anything like this. She's a queen. Karen's career is ashes. Amara Johnson for president. But Amara wasn't finished. She pressed the headset mic closer, her tone ironclad. Board of Directors, I am invoking immediate restructuring authority. Effective now, Skylink will implement mandatory anti-discrimination retraining for all staff. Any employee who refuses will be terminated. This is not negotiable. Simmons's voice quavered through the line. Yes, Dr. Johnson. The board unanimously supports. Amara let the headset drop onto the captain's console. She didn't need it anymore. The cabin was hers. She turned to the passengers, raising her voice so everyone could hear. You all bore witness. You saw how quickly bias rears its head, how swiftly humiliation spreads, how silence from those in power enables cruelty. But today you also witnessed something else. Accountability. The passengers roared, a standing ovation now. Dozens of phones captured her from every angle, the light of screens turning her into a figure larger than life. Karen sobbed into her hands. Cole sat in stunned silence. The captain stared at the floor, broken. And Amara Johnson stood tall, unshaken, radiant in her authority. The black man in 4C shouted over the noise, "Dr. Johnson, thank you. You gave us hope today." The cabin erupted again, passengers clapping, stomping, chanting her name. "Amara! Amara! Amara!" It was no longer an airplane. It was a revolution. And at its center stood a black woman who had been mocked, humiliated, and doubted, yet rose to burn injustice to ash. With the power of her voice, her authority, her name, the hammer had fallen, and the world would never forget the sound. The plane touched down to thunderous applause. Passengers cheered like they had survived not just a flight, but a revolution. Phones stayed high, recording every second as Amara Johnson walked down the jet bridge like a queen returning from battle. Karen was escorted off in handcuffs, her face streaked with mascara, still shrieking, "This isn't fair. She set me up. I'm the victim here." No one believed her. Cole Simmons walked silently, eyes hollow, his once polished suit hanging on him like a burial shroud. Reporters swarmed, cameras flashing, microphones shoved in his face. He said nothing. Captain Alvarez disappeared quickly, avoiding the press, but not fast enough to dodge the headlines already forming. By the time Amara reached her waiting car, the world was on fire. Twitter trended globally. #Amara Johnson, #she owns the plane, #Karen fired, #Skylink scandal. Clips of Karen's smug livestream, her mocking voice, her laughter, were everywhere. Millions watched the moment her arrogance collapsed into horror as Amara revealed herself. One viral tweet read, "Karen tried to kick a black woman out of first class. That black woman turned out to be her CEO. This is what justice looks like." It hit 6 million likes within 12 hours. Skylink Airlines in crisis. CEO humiliated, fires entire team mid-flight. Racial profiling on airlines under scrutiny after CEO confrontation. Black woman. CEO shakes corporate America. Accountability has landed. Shares reacted instantly. Skylink stock dropped 18% overnight. PR firms scrambled. Investors demanded answers. But behind the chaos, one fact became clear. Amara's authority was unshakable. Commentators called it the most decisive corporate flex in airline history. So, a newspaper Times op-ed read, "In 10 minutes, Dr. Amara Johnson dismantled systemic arrogance on livestream. She didn't just defend her dignity, she changed the rules of engagement. And the internet crowned her a legend. Memes flooded timelines. Amara in a crown, captioned, 'Queen of the Skies.' Karen's face, frozen mid-sneer with bold letters, 'Fired live.' A viral TikTok remixing the chant, 'Amara, Amara, Amara,' over a beat. Meanwhile, Karen's life collapsed overnight. Her live stream, meant to humiliate, was deleted, but not before millions downloaded it. Employers blacklisted her. Neighbors avoided her. News crews camped outside her house. The internet dug into her past. Old tweets, old posts, old comments dripping with prejudice. Every skeleton rattled out of the closet. Karen Miller had become a global symbol, not of power, but of downfall. Cole Simmons quietly resigned, but it didn't matter. His name was already trending with hashtags like #ColeComplicit. His career was ashes. Captain Alvarez's union tried to defend him, but the video evidence was too strong. His suspension was indefinite. And Amara, she didn't flinch. The morning after the scandal, she walked into Skylink headquarters, cameras flashing, reporters shouting questions. She stopped at the steps, looked into the cameras, and said only one thing. "Dignity is not negotiable, and neither is accountability." The crowd erupted in applause. Then she turned, walked inside, and shut the doors on the noise. Passengers from Flight 921 became overnight celebrities. The Latina in 3B gave an emotional interview. "I watched a black woman stand up to power and win. Do you know how rare that is? It gave me hope." The black man in 4C was on CNN. "She didn't just fire people, She showed the world you can't humiliate us without consequences. Even the businessman in 1C, once complicit, admitted on his stream, "I was part of the problem. I laughed. I recorded. But when she revealed who she was, I realized I was recording history." And I'll never forget it. Skylink's board issued a formal apology. Policies shifted overnight. Mandatory reforms, equity programs, leadership purges. But none of it compared to the image that burned itself into the public memory. A black woman standing tall in the aisle of her own jet, commanding justice like a queen. She hadn't raised her voice. She hadn't begged. She hadn't argued. She had simply revealed the truth. And the world had bowed.